to Martin.
87, the top pill, bat. I put it down for my whip to my diamonds, I'm in. Everything I do it big.
Greetings, Highlanders fans, and welcome to GoHighlanders.com's coverage of the 2010 and 11 men's basketball season. We sat down with head coach Jim Woolridge just prior to the season opener at UNLV to get his take on the year ahead. Coach, before we start talking about the 2010 and 11 season, let's take a quick look back at last year. Now that you've had some time to reflect on it, what are your thoughts on how the 2009-10 season turned out? And for the players who were part of that team, what do you think the takeaways are from that season?
Well, the obvious is we lost a lot of seniors, John. A lot of kids that did some good things while they were here. We came up short at the end. It was a conference season that was full of parity up until the very end, last game of the year. But I felt like our kids, looking back on it, they played hard, played with some conviction. Hopefully they got a lot out of the year that they can take with them through the course of their life. And I think it made us, realize two things. One, we're hungry for more success. And two, that this league is close in terms of talent and results, and it could be that one game that could catapult you, up to the upper echelon, or that game that could, keep you in a position where you're looking up. So, we had some really good moments, some exciting moments. At the end, I appreciate the efforts of our kids, and I think they did enough to help us move forward.
Well, certainly one of the things that could have occurred to improve the team last year would have been a healthy Javon Borum. He missed the entire season with an injury. How's he look this preseason, and what does his return mean to the club?
Well, we again, not looking back, but looking forward to what Javon has brought to our program. This will be his third year. One is a red shirt, as you know, he was our starting point guard 2 years ago. Just a spirit that is very unique. He's got a winning spirit about him, a very competitive spirit. He takes on challenges and hits it head on, and with a lot of enthusiasm and toughness. And I think that spreads throughout your team. Every coach is looking for team leaders and guys that know what competition is to help those that need the help. And we moved him now from a point guard position to a two-guard position because we like his shot-making ability and want to get him more looks off the ball. And so he's bringing a spirit back to our team that we think will be vital to us, and the shot-making ability, and then just the experience. He's a fifth-year senior, he's been through a lot, knows what it is to compete at this level, and as you know, we have a lot of new players, so I think he can lend his hand with that as well.
Well, the lone returning player who saw time on the court last year is David Chavarria. There are also two names on the roster who are at least familiar to Highlanders fans, in Kareem Natoto and Harrison Gaines, both of whom had to sit out last year due to NCAA transfer rules. What can you tell folks about Harrison and Kareem's games, and how do you see each of them, along with David, fitting into the puzzle this season?
Well, these two guards, Harrison and Kareem, are experienced players. Again, they played Division I. Harrison at Penn and came to us 2 years ago, redshirted a year ago. And then Kareem from Hawaii, he too redshirted a year ago, but has Division I experience. We like what they bring from a skill standpoint, experience standpoint. They know our system. They've been in it along with Javon. So, when you start thinking about guard play, we hope we're going to see, even though all three are beginning this year after redshirting a year ago. I think we're going to see some real positive things from them. And then, of course, David is he's a blue-collar guy. I mean, when you watch David play, it's an all-out effort, isn't it? And he's a local product here and played in a great high school program, so he knows what's going on, and he too will lend that experience to this team.
Well, the rest of the squad is completely new, 8 new faces in all. Certainly some parallels to the situation that you and the Highlanders found yourselves in 2 seasons ago when you had a large group of transfers coming in. And as I recall, that team turned out okay, winning a Division I program era record 17 games. Are there similarities between the 2 situations, at least at this stage of the season? And what do you see as the primary differences and similarities between the 2?
Well, every team, John, really is so unique in itself. They all have their own personality. We like these kids. We think they fit UCR. We think they fit our program. They have stepped into UCR and in this program with as much enthusiasm as I've ever been around. We think we have the makings of a good team. Obviously, we have a lot to prove. We haven't proven anything with this new crew, but we like our speed and our quickness. We have some depth on that front line for the first time. It's a new look for us, and similarities. Well, they're all new, like that team 2 years ago. How they mesh together as that team did, we'll have to wait and see on that. But I think they're going to be a fun group to watch and to get behind as fans out there. And I think you'll see some exciting moments in that rec soon.
Well, Kyle Austin certainly became the most recognized player on the past 2 teams with 2 All-Big West first-team nods. He decided to forgo his final year of college eligibility to play professionally overseas. First of all, what does his absence mean to this year's team? And then secondly, how do you go about replacing his contributions? Do you find another Kyle Austin, or do you somehow build one using the other players on the roster?
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to have to do it through committee. I think, Kyle was a focal point, John, to what we were doing offensively. And I think he brought a presence to the floor as well that only special players have as part of their personality and presence. So we're going to miss that. There's no question about that. But he helped our program. He moved our program forward. He was a featured player in that sense. And but I think we've got a group that can do this by committee. I think we're going to do things a little bit different. We're going to play a little different style of basketball that fits these kids better, and we'll see who emerges. I mean, that's part of the excitement, of the season. If I'm going to follow Highlander basketball, who's going to emerge is the players that can be counted on and featured players, and we have several candidates for that. So we'll see where it goes.
Well, we talked about the newcomers a few minutes ago. Are there some that are having really good preseasons that you'd like to highlight in some way, some that we'll see in the lineup perhaps earlier more than others?
Yeah, well, I think, a kid like Phil Martin, he's a swing player, wing player that we brought in from New York that we think has a lot of ability. We're hoping it shows up early in the scoring department. We've been void off that position in scoring, and he's a terrific athlete, and he's got a lot of natural ability. So we're going to try to give him a little longer leash and let him make some mistakes and play through those mistakes, as we think at the tail end of this thing, meaning when we get into league play, that we could have a special player on our hands there. Our front line, I mentioned it earlier, Kevin Bradshaw, an RCC product, is a player that we think has a lot of ability that we hope, we see early come through for us. Taekwon Brown, Elliott Berry, B.J. Sherry, all those guys on the front line are capable players. And little point guard Damon Calla is a freshman with us that we think will have some playing time, find some playing time. So those are some new guys, but again, it's a question mark as to who's going to come through to what extent, but all of them are guys that have the capability.
Well, as usual, you've decided to ease the team into the season. All you're doing to start the year is go to UNLV and the Thomas and Mack Center, and all the Running Rebels did last year was go 25-9, make the NCAA tournament, and they've got the 5th toughest building in America to play in. Can you talk a little bit about how you try and schedule out of conference and how that prepares you for the conference season?
Well, this game is a huge challenge, as you mentioned. I mean, they're a program and a team that historically has done very well. They've got a lot of guys back from a team that won 25 ball games. The Thomas Mack Center is one of the most difficult places in the country, as you mentioned, to play in. So we're going to go ahead and just jump right into the fire. But I think it's good proving ground for us. We're going to get a chance to compete. We're going to get a chance to see where we are. We're going to play a team that is well put together, and so we just decided to go ahead and take a leap of faith, if you would, and put it on our players' backs and see where we come out Friday night at 7:30. But I know our players are excited about the opportunity. Division I players, good players, they want to play good competition, and certainly this is a game that's going to give it to us.
You've also got the likes of Stanford, St. Mary's, a 3-game tournament down at SMU, which is a first under your leadership, certainly here, traveling to a tournament like that. What do these other teams do in order to prepare you for conference play?
John, we're going to see a variety of style of play. We'll see zone. We'll see at UNLV. We'll see backcourt pressure. We'll see big teams. We'll see fast teams, fast break teams. So, I think any coach would tell you by the time you're done with your pre-conference schedule, you need to know who you are. You need to play a variety of different kind of teams to adjust and make the proper adjustments, because once you get to that January mark, and you need to know who you are. You need to have those adjustments made, and you need to be playing better basketball. So we're hoping this preseason conference will do just exactly that.
Well, you mentioned the January mark this year, a little quirk in the schedule. Big West Conference competition begins just a little earlier than that, December 28th at UC Irvine. I'm sure that seems like it's a long way off right now, and you haven't had the chance to see what other teams are doing in the conference other than some preseason scores. But what's your overall take on how the Big West stacks up this year, and where do you see the Highlanders fitting into that mix?
John, I think our league is full of parity. I think there's a lot of good teams. If I'm going to pick a winner right now, you'd have to look at Santa Barbara. They were a champion from a year ago. Everybody back, 2 all-league players. Long Beach State, I think, is positioned to do very well. There are other good teams, but I think we're all kind of bunched up there from there, and it's going to be a very close race again. I do think Santa Barbara and Long Beach are probably the best 2 teams, but an injury could take anybody out and cast another team up there. So it's going to be great, exciting basketball. We'll see where it comes out.
Well, final question, Coach. If the Highlanders are indeed preparing for a conference championship game come mid-March in Anaheim at the Honda Center this year, with an NCAA berth on the line, what are the things that have happened to put UC Riverside in that position?
Well, injury-free, meshing players together, really come together as a strong unit. Some of the new players that we've brought in here acclimate themselves to Division I basketball and have great seasons. A little bit of luck. Take care of our home floor for sure, and that's where our fans become so important to us. And I do think this, John, we're going to be an exciting team to watch. I think people will appreciate the hustle, the style of play, the personalities that come out on a basketball floor from these very gifted young men. So we're hoping a lot of exciting things happen. We'll see where we are at the end.
Thanks a lot for your time, Coach. Good luck this season.
Thanks, John.
The Highlanders are currently on the road playing in a tournament at SMU, which will see them square off against Lamar, the host Mustangs, and Portland State. The team's next home game is slated for December 2nd against UT San Antonio. Tip-off is scheduled for 7 p.m. Pacific Time at the Student Recreation Center.